The Pool of Siloam has significance not just for protecting the water of Jerusalem, but also for another reason. The Bible tells us that there were 3 times during the year, Passover, Pentecost, Tabernacles, Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot, when all of Israel would have to go on pilgrimage up to the temple. Now, before you can do that, one must purify themselves. The Pool of Siloam was a giant ritual bath, or mikvah, to allow the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions of pilgrims going up to the temple to first purify themselves before beginning their ascent up to the temple from here at the Pool of Siloam.
Well, we're underneath the site of another important archaeological dig in Jerusalem. Further evidence that the Bible really is quite reliable. The Bible talks about pilgrims ascending, singing psalms of ascent to the temple. You can see here an imitation photo of how this scene would have looked on what's known now as the Pilgrim's Way. They've recently discovered this. The actual stone that we're standing on is the route the pilgrims took to ascend up to the temple. Imagine the joy and celebration. Jesus would have done this with his disciples, making his way up to the Temple Mount. And now, come with me, they discovered around the corner here, you can actually see the route the pilgrims would have taken. These stones are the stones that Jesus and his disciples would have trodden on as they made their way up from the bottom of the city of David right up to the Temple Mount to worship God, to offer sacrifices, for teaching and for festivals. This is the Pilgrim's Way, another archaeological find that reminds us of the importance and the reliability of the Bible.
If I was a money changer, I would set up shop inside of this little booth here, right in front of this major walkway. And so when Jesus is coming to the temple and he's walking by, he would see these money changers, oftentimes charging exorbitant rates to give money back to the pilgrims who have made their pilgrimage here to worship at the temple. And as people would come to them, they would tell them whatever the exchange rate was, and they would do all their business on a table or on a bench. And so as they would exchange this money, they would become known as the men of the bench. And of course, one of the most famous stories is when Jesus is coming to the temple. He's going to cleanse the temple, and this would be one of the areas that that drew his anger the most, is that men would make money off of exchanging money to get the currency to pay the temple tax. And instead of it being a joyous occasion to come worship God, it turned into a money-making affair. And all of it would be done right here in this particular area. And above me is what's known as the Robinson Arch. And people would walk up behind these money lenders, these money exchangers, into the temple above my head. So here we get money, and there we have God. And Jesus, as he was coming to the temple, this would have been one of the places he would have stopped, and it would have drew his anger that people were making their living off of charging tremendous rates for people to just want to go and worship God.